This is Mike Regan with Transact's 2-Minute Warning for the week of September 13th. In this week's 2-Minute Warning, we've got some important information to share with you about LTL sourcing strategies. In last week's 2-Minute Warning, we featured an on-the-record interview with our friend David Ross, who's an Executive Vice President with Roadrunner. Roadrunner's been a member of our Freedom Program for a long time, and David joined him this year after a 20-year run on Wall Street. Prior to joining Roadrunner, he had been the Managing Director of Stifel's Global Transportation Practice, a very, very astute individual. If you haven't yet listened to the interview yet, go over to Transact.com, listen to it, 34 minutes. We've got some phenomenal reviews on it. People said, wow, that was one of the best interviews about LTL I've ever heard. Now, one of the things coming out of that interview, though, were some questions for people that said, you know, based on David's comments, I think there's some holes in our sourcing strategy that we'd like to have you identify in an upcoming 2-Minute Warning, and that's this week's session. Because one of the things we've highlighted for folks that if you're going to be conducting a LTL sourcing event and you want to get the best possible results, there are 3 things that you must have nailed. First, you need to understand your book of business and your freight requirements a lot better than currently exist today. One of the reasons this is so important is because in years past, when carriers were focused on what we call market-driven decisions, in other words, we want to capture as much market share, you could be a little bit loose or perhaps even sloppy with some of the facts. Well, today, the carriers have more information than ever before, and as we noted last week, they're getting much better at using that information to make pricing decisions. And what they have is the ability to have laser-like precision in identifying how your freight is going to impact their networks. So one of the things David pointed out, it's not just the overall volume of freight you're tendering to the carrier, it's the volume within specific lanes. The second thing that you need to do is to understand a carrier's cost structure. That's why we once again want to encourage you, take our carrier yield test, give it to the carriers and ask them to evaluate or score you based on the questions on that yield test. The carriers have given us positive reviews. It's proven to be enormously effective. Third, don't be afraid to ask for help. We have a wealth of information. We're happy to share it with you that can perhaps open your eyes on the fact that your book of freight has a different value to different carriers. Now, whether it's through our rapid assessment, things like the carrier yield test, or our white paper on conducting a great LTL sourcing event, we are here to help you. And the reason for that is because with each and every 2-minute warning, we want to remind you we are on your team. We are here to help once again, and we're passionate about seeing you be successful. Thanks for your time.